Welcome to the RotoWire DFS Soccer Show. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Ryan Belongia, and a proper send-off for Jack Burkart. This is his final DraftKings DFS show until Notre Dame plays in the semifinals of the college football playoff. But also forever, Jack is leaving us. We'll give some thoughts on Jack leaving us before jumping into the slate, but welcome back from the holidays, guys. This is more of a bittersweet show. I'll send it to Ryan before we let Jack say some few words here.
Yeah, the end of an era. Sad times with Jack leaving us, on to bigger and better things. Big shoes to fill for us here. But yeah, I think it was a success, right? I remember our first podcast for the World Cup. I want to say we've come a long ways since then. Built the machine, won some GPPs. So, I think you can look back on it pretty fondly. What do you think, Jack?
Oh, it's kind of sad. I'm excited about what I have up next. I'll post it on Twitter next week once I officially start, but I won't be allowed to play DFS anymore. For those that don't know, the school I work at is going to be closing at the end of May, so I had to scramble and find some new opportunities, and something came up where I could work in the DFS space, and as I've done this, it's something I want to try out. I've been an academic my whole life, so the professor is going to move out. I just want to say thank you to the audience and everyone who's enjoyed our content. You've all made it so rewarding to do. So everyone has always given me, well, mostly positive feedback, some people negative, but that's okay. I've gotten mostly positive feedback, and it's meant the world to me to have like a great community of people who understand how to approach things, and we're always so supportive of me trying new things out, even when the machine projections like didn't adjust for opponents and were quite bad. Everyone was always giving me really positive feedback and helping things get better. So I'm extremely grateful for it. I made two great friends, Adam and Ryan, out of this, and others, plenty of friends in Discord. It's always popping in there. So just a big thank you to all of you. This has meant the world to me. It's kind of weird, but like touting DFS, it's made a huge impact on my life, and I've enjoyed it a lot. And it's a better feedback loop than academia, quite frankly. So I don't know, just big thank you to everyone. You are the people that made this worth it.
You, the listener, are the people who made this. Yeah, so what Ryan said, Jack, 2022 World Cup, that was, I think he reached out to me. I think I put some feelers out. He was in our Discord for, I don't know, a year or so before joining up, but yeah, once my motivation waned, Jack was the one keeping DFS content alive at RotoWire. So we'll see where things go in the future. Not sure where we're headed. I haven't looked at the schedule yet, but unfortunate Jack couldn't stay on with RotoWire. Unfortunately, but
we're gonna have to find somebody in the January window, like splash some cash or something, because Jack was writing articles, doing podcasts.
We're splashing some cash, and it's all coming from Ryan's pocket. So, but yeah, it's too bad. We'll see. I don't know. I won't get into anything else here. I was going to say maybe Jack will pop on some other stuff, but that's to be determined.
We'll see.
I don't want to say anything because nothing has even been considered yet. But we have a 5-game slate to say goodbye to Jack to, and it is a slate where Manchester City are at home against a bottom 10 side, almost a bottom 5 side, and they are not the biggest favorite on the slate, though they have the highest implied goal total. Manchester City home against West Ham. Aston Villa are home against Leicester, slightly a bigger favorite, and then Bournemouth home against Everton. Chelsea at Crystal Palace, Brentford at Southampton. So, I think this is a decent farewell slate is what I'll say. There's a couple ways to go. It's not a dominant Manchester City that we've seen in prior seasons that it's like, okay, how can I plug in 6 Man City guys and take it from there? Hasn't been in the conversation for the past 2 months. So that definitely helps on a slate like this where they are in a good matchup. But as we do, let's start at forward. And looking at the goal odds here, Haaland is 10.3K. He's still minus 230 to score, which seems kind of high given, how City have been playing. Ollie Watkins up next, minus 155. And then Cole Palmer, the midfield only, he's plus 140 to score. So there's a lot of ways to go. Haaland, 10.3K, will start in cash games. Not really. I don't know. Is Haaland in range for cash games at 10.3K? It's not crazy price, but minus 230. I guess if you avoid the last 2 months and you just look at, okay, minus 230 to score, would he be more likely to be in cash games than he is, given what we know? I'll start with Jack here. Given what we know with how Man City are playing, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question. So I think there's no real clear answer to it, but I think the priority of the slate is to play some Manchester City pieces and then to fill it up with, there's a lot of Aston Villa value because they have a super soft matchup against Leicester City. Haaland's floor hasn't been very good lately, but the machine says it's going to be like around 7 in this spot. So take that for what you will. So when I was optimizing just with goal odds, like totally included, I was seeing Haaland in cash game in like my top lineups. But you can play options like Savinho, who's only 9K, and he played 90 minutes recently. And you could also justifiably play Ollie Watkins, though I always worry about minutes with John Duran on the bench. So
he's still suspended, Duran is.
Oh, Duran is. All right. Well, with Duran suspended, then you could also get 90 minutes of Ollie Watkins in what might be a smash spot. So I don't think Haaland is a lock by any means. I mean, I think Savinho got his first goal recently. He's pretty active from a floor point of view. And if his minutes are good, then if he gets 90 minutes, he looks like a pretty good play. So I'm looking to play one of those three. I don't necessarily want to force Haaland, but there's so much cheap value that you can, and you can kind of block things off. I mean, at forward, Ryan's boy, Paul Nwachu, is still only 3.8K, and he's shown a pretty good floor lately. And I think there's a couple other cheap options if you want to go there. Ryan, what do you think?
Are we calling Onuachu Ryan's boy? Is that?
Oh, for sure.
He's more of an Armstrong guy. I thought I was the Onuachu guy.
I became an Onuachu guy after that Boxing Day slate.
Okay.
When he was 1%. Can you believe he was 1% in that main GPP? I mean, how is that even possible?
No one knew who he was.
3,500, but I guess he didn't score though, so he's not really my boy. But yeah, I think you're definitely playing one of those three, maybe even two of those three. West Ham allowed 13 shots on goal last game against Liverpool. They got destroyed, and they're not going to have Bowen here. So it's kind of like a smash spot for City, which is annoying because, yeah, like they've been bad lately. The total stand, like Adam, I know what you're saying, like about the total and the odds.
What does a smash spot for City mean these days? Like this is not that they had 46% possession against Leicester City last week. This isn't like this is a mid-table team. I don't know, like saying.
I mean, it's a 2.5 implied goal total spot, like the odds say. And
I don't believe the odds.
Okay, fine. But what happened to West Ham last week?
That was against the best team in the league on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not on
They're
the road.
on the road here without their best player. So
that means they're going to be more defensive.
Okay. So it's still like a good spot for City, right? Maybe not a smash spot, but I mean, I agree with the odds and with Haaland's odds and their total. Might be a better spot for Villa. Morgan Rogers is out. Duran's out. Maybe they're not quite as good of an attacking team without those two, but I don't know how much it matters against Leicester. I think Leicester's probably the worst team in the league. Definitely the best matchup for DFS. So I think you could play Ollie Watkins, especially for 900 cheaper than Haaland. I'd probably almost prefer that. Savinho might be the best of the bunch. Yeah, like Jack said, especially if he's going to play 90 minutes, goal and assist last week. I have Savinho in right now. But I think you can make a case for any of those three.
Ryan, did you say that you want to play 2? I mean, I tried to get I'm trying to click lineups and how you get there, and you have to make some fades that I don't want to make at midfield if you do that.
I don't. You can play 2. You can play 2. It requires playing Dibbling and Bailey.
No, that's not so bad. But then you can't play like John McGinn or someone like that. We'll see how it goes with midfield. But yeah, I agree. I think if you forced me to make a lineup in 2 minutes right now, I would probably play my lineup with Savinho in it, just because I think I get a little bit of extra floor. And West Ham is just such a soft matchup, I think, for a team like how City plays. I just see them playing very passively here. Like Naholio in chat is saying Lopetegui has been trash, and like I completely agree. So it makes me want to lean Manchester City in this spot. But if you go for Ollie Watkins, given everything, I mean that's a great option. I mean, Leicester are just god awful, and Villa might score like 4 or 5 goals in this match. That's well within the range of outcomes.
I like Ollie Watkins more than any of those other guys. Ollie Watkins number 1 for me.
That's fine.
No Duran. He's got to win back his position as well. He lost his position to Duran. He was ripping shots last game. Leicester have been allowing a ton of shots. I know Villa aren't usually a team that take a ton of shots. They're usually more limited at that area, but he still took 6 shots at Brighton, which was intriguing. And then we know he's on PKs. He's over PKs after Tielemans missed earlier in the season, I believe. So we have that in there. Savinho's not on set piece duty as long as De Bruyne and or Foden are in there. So you have that in there. And, Rodgers being out is going to affect him in some way. We'll see what that lineup actually looks like. I have here Onana and Kamara both in there. I think they used that against Man City recently. They used that against a team they played recently where Tielemans was playing a little more forward. Something to keep an eye on in terms of if you're playing Tielemans or not, if both of them, Onana and Kamara are. Yeah.
Is that true with Savinho? I mean, so we've seen Savinho play with Foden and KDB, and we see Foden and Kevin De Bruyne split set pieces. Does Savinho have the same foot as Foden? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not projecting set pieces for Savinho, but we've seen De Bruyne take half with Foden on. So
I'm just looking at he hasn't taken a set piece since October, so I just don't.
Okay, I'm big braining it then. Don't scratch that. Fired.
Yeah, I mean his floor overall I think is great because he was taking corners earlier in the season, and I think that correlated with Foden being out, if I'm not mistaken, and then De Bruyne was out, so both those guys were out. So his floor definitely had a big raise. He had a big floor against Everton, but he actually didn't really have much of a floor against Leicester. 23 points with a goal and assist. So I guess his floor is kind of unknown. No set pieces. Ollie Watkins, 90 minutes, and in arguably a better spot. Home against Leicester, who have been just allowing a ton of shots. I mean, you could say it's the same. It's the same. I mean, they have the same win odds, but I just think Ollie Watkins is more likely to score as well. You have similar prices. Savinho just scored his first goal of the season in that last game. So I just like the goal odds. I think the floors at the end of the day, you could say Savinho has a better floor because he's showing it. Maybe he's going to be crossing in more balls. You could say that, but I just like the goal odds a little better. Even in cash games, I still prefer Watkins.
Yep, I think that's fine. It's a small preference, but I mean, if you took a head-to-head of mine and you played Ollie Watkins, I think you're playing fine.
I'd probably beat you. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll probably beat me. No one runs better.
Yeah. Otherwise, at the forward, I mean, we're talking about these high-end guys because that's kind of the best options here. But I think there are other players to consider. There's a lot of Chelsea guys. I'm not sure you'd want to pay, depending who starts. Madueke is 8.8K at Crystal Palace. Dango Otara is 8,100. Kind of pricey when you consider Semenyo is 7,500, who I prefer more. Bournemouth are home against Everton. Like that spot there. You're probably not going to go Sarr at 7,800. Jackson 8K is not a cash play. Pedro Neto is at 7,600. So we're kind of going a little further. But I think Semenyo stands out in that somewhat of a mid-range. And then if you want to go down further, as you guys are saying, Paul Anuachu, Ryan's guy is down here. Adam Armstrong also is 4,400. Minutes, I'm not sure about minutes with where we're going on these Southampton guys, because again, new manager, so there's been rotation. But without Matheus Fernandez in there, maybe that helps a little bit. Though I think Dibling's kind of taking that role. But Ryan, what other forwards are you looking at for your maybe second forward, assuming you're not playing two of those high end guys?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I wanted to play two of those high end guys, because I liked the value mids better than these forwards. I think Semenyo seems pretty good for 7,500 home against Everton, who've been bad. Semenyo usually plays 90, takes a lot of shots. Evan Nielsen for tournaments seems fine. But after that, it's really the Southampton guys. I don't really want to play those Chelsea guys, at least not in cash. I mean, they're fine for tournaments, but Chelsea been struggling lately. They're all liable to get subbed. And then I don't really want to play, there's just not a lot of options actually, because Brentford don't have any forwards with Lewis Potter. If he's going to be playing defense, or maybe he's on the wing, I guess you can call him an option, but not going to play anyone from Leicester and Palace, West Ham, kind of going to cross them off, so there's just, I don't know. There's not that many options. Makes me like the expensive guys.
In that same range, Jack?
Yeah. I obligatorily have to say Antoine Semenyo looks like a good play. Just the shooting volume's insane. I think DraftKings gave me a ping that Antoine Semenyo was my most rostered player last week, which that's evergreen content right there. I promise you what's going to happen is he's not going to score. And the second, Saturday's my last slate. Then next week what's going to happen is that Semenyo is going to get a brace. So I hope the audience stays woke. That's
Jack. You need to decide who you're going to play on your last ever DraftKings slate. And are you going to ride with Semenyo again? Imagine if you got off of him here. Imagine getting off Semenyo and he scores a brace on your last slate.
No, Semenyo is a machine legend. I've been captaining him in showdowns, and he's always getting like these 10-point floors and then never scoring. So it's like the mythical. He scores 20 points when he scores. Let's hope he can actually take a high quality shot, because I know the knock on Semenyo is that he takes a lot of low quality shots. So maybe some of that floor is like a little bit of like a Twinkie, not very healthy.
The Julio and Ciso forwards.
Yeah, the Julio and Ciso forwards.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
I like Nwachu more than Adam Armstrong. I know Southampton have a new manager, and Adam Armstrong has had minutes volatility lately, so that makes me a bit concerned. I otherwise like him, but with the new manager, I don't trust his minutes as much. They're both very cheap. Ryan, don't hurt me, but Jordan Ayew projects kind of well. And I know he scored a goal recently, and he's only 4,200. So if you're a Megamind GPP bro and you want to throw in a sprinkle of Jordan Ayew, I will probably play. If I play 20 lineups, maybe I'll play him once or twice. Don't think it's a bad play. I mean, he always gets away with it. And I think sometimes he takes set pieces, though Bilal El-Khanous should be on right footers. It's not a good matchup, but if you don't want to play the Southampton guys, I think you can.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you can. 2 slates ago, talked about how you didn't want to play Newcastle against Villa, and they scored 3 on them pretty easily. Like Brighton's B team scored 2 against Villa. We were just talking about like Villa's actually like a fine matchup for. So yeah, I don't mind Leicester.
I think the thing with Villa is they're allowing goals. They're not allowing a ton of floor points with the way that they play. Though notably, so Diego Carlos is out, Pau Torres is out, Tyrone Mings, got to assume he's going to start here. I think he has like 3 starts in the past, 12, 18 months or something like that, because he returned from, I think it was a torn ACL earlier this season. So you have that in there, which,
and Morgan Rogers is out.
Yeah. And again, this is Leicester, but as Jack was saying, so Ayew was coming off a suspension, but before that, seemingly Van Nistelrooy likes him. 84 minutes, 90 minutes. He drew 7 fouls against Liverpool, which obviously you can't project that, but I think that's notable. He also took 4 corners in those 2 games, And I want to say maybe Buonanotte didn't play in one of those, but we know Canouche played in those games. I think he took set pieces over El Canouche. So I think that's pretty relevant there. We'll see. Again, we'll see what this lineup looks like, but 4,200 isn't terrible. I guess you're comparing him to Armstrong and Onuachu at that point. So
exactly.
I guess it'd be pretty fitting for a Jamie Vardy party on Jack's last slate.
No, that would not be fun. If it's a
4,600, Villa allow goals. Look at Vardy, 7.7 floor against City last game, 8 against Wolves the game before that. Look at Vardy just ripped 10 shots in the last 2 games. I mean, how do you not play that guy?
Oh, I won't.
That doesn't include he missed the Boxing Day game with a minor injury. So I will note that. So unclear on his exact health right now, but he did play 90 minutes in their last game. But yeah, that's probably mostly.
Are you taking sets, Adam? Is that what you said?
Yeah, over El Canouche, it looks like, unless Jack has seen something different.
No, they're both right-footed, right? El Canouche is right-footed, and so is Ayew. And I think Ayew took over El Canouche. Not like there's going to be a ton of set pieces for Leicester in this game, but yeah. I think that's notable.
He's going in the pool. It's notable.
Yeah, I guess I'm always one to bet under on corners against Aston Villa because they don't allow corners. So we're looking at 3-4 Leicester corners. But again, you drew 7 fouls. What if you drew 7 fouls in this spot and 7 free kicks? Hey, that's almost 7 points. Plus
only needs one corner to assist to Vestergaard.
Yeah. All right, let's move to Cole Palmer's position. He's 10.8K, which I feel like is a little pricey here. We get down to, I guess the big question is, right now I don't have Foden in our projected 11, but who really knows what this Man City lineup's going to look like? De Bruyne was benched for a couple games, then he was back. Foden, I think, only went 60-something minutes last game. So De Bruyne is 9,800. Foden is 8,500. My favorite play, we already mentioned Dibbling, but Dibbling is my favorite play, 4,200. We're looking at set pieces. Home against Brentford. Brentford allow floor points. They're on the road. They allow goals. I don't know a reason why you don't play him outside of tournaments because he's going to be so popular. But again, how popular is he going to be? He's not going to be that popular to be like, I want to fade him. But I think he's a lock in cash games. So what are we looking at in terms of the best plays at the high end for midfield? Cole Palmer, or are we going with one of these Man City guys, Jack?
I'm thinking to go with Kevin De Bruyne, actually, just because it's such a good spot for floor. And in this lineup, I'm projecting him for a monopoly of set pieces. And that's just super valuable. And that kind of puts him a little bit ahead of Cole Palmer. It's going to be tricky, though, because I think Cole Palmer is also a very good play. But I just think the matchup is going to be better for Manchester City. And I want to opt for what I think is going to be a monopoly set piece role. I think KDB played over 80 minutes in his last start as well. So minutes are a slight concern, especially based on his injury history. But it's close. I don't know, Ryan. I wonder in tournaments if we're going to have a situation where Cole Palmer is like, quote unquote, leverage. Like, is Cole Palmer somehow going to not be giga high owned on a slate for once just due to this really close pricing with Kevin De Bruyne? So I slightly prefer him. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Cole's going to be the lowest we've ever seen Palmer owned. To answer Eugene's question, fading Palmer, yeah, I think most people will. Not necessarily because of Palace recent play, but that's part of it also. I like Palace, especially at home. Chelsea haven't been great, so I think like just in a vacuum, it's not like a smash play. And then when you add in the City guys who are also cheaper, yeah, this is a Cole Palmer leverage slate for sure. As far as trusting Leon Bailey, I don't know if you can ever trust Leon Bailey, but it's a good price and a good matchup. I agree with Adam, though. Dibbling for that price is better. Great matchup for Southampton. We all really like Dibbling, so yeah, I think that's an easy click.
If you need a reason to play Cole Palmer and not play De Bruyne, is just kind of look at De Bruyne's stats. I mean, he went 90 minutes against Leicester, who allowed a ton of we usually allow a ton of floor points. He had 7.6 floor points, 2 shots, 1 shot assisted. They didn't have a ton of corners in that game. You can look at that. You can look at De Bruyne's upside. You can look at Crystal Palace, who don't have Chalobah and won't have Will Hughes. So Decore enters the 11 with Lerma, which, maybe that's a good thing or not, depending how much you like Will Hughes. And Chris Richards hasn't looked great for Crystal Palace this season in his limited time. But, I think it's more in play that Cole Palmer gets 4 goals than De Bruyne does. So if you want to look at that in terms of tournaments, that would probably be your move. But I think it is pretty close, and it is a 1K difference as well, which might be vital in other areas of your team.
Adam,
can I butt in actually?
Yeah,
I have a concern about Chelsea. And I've heard commentators say this, and people said Maresca, Chelsea's manager, Leicester kind of tapered off at the end of the year because I think it's a pretty high demand style. And if you look at Chelsea's minutes, he doesn't make many subs. Most of the players are going 90 minutes on a weekly level. Now they're playing in the Conference League, so it's not like, Cole Palmer is going 90 minutes when they're traveling to Kazakhstan or something like this. But I know some people have expressed some concern about, Chelsea kind of being run into the ground a little bit. It's more of a GPP take, but if you wanted to take a shot on someone on Crystal Palace, I don't think it's unreasonable to see Chelsea taper down a little bit. And that kind of goes against Cole Palmer a little bit, and maybe more if you want to take a shot on a Sarr or an Eza in GPPs. Kind of neither here nor there in the discussion, though. Ryan, what were you going to say?
I think Mateta is fine for GPPs. I think Eze is good for GPPs too. Yeah, so I agree with that. I'd be more on the Palace side here than Chelsea. I was just going to ask Adam, how did Kevin De Bruyne do a month ago against the 3rd place team in the Premier League? Can we check that?
Yeah, he's old.
I just want to know, did he have a good game against Forest?
He didn't have 4 goals. I said Kevin De Bruyne is not getting 4 goals.
I just floor I know what you're saying about De Bruyne recently, but he had a massive floor against Forest a month ago with a goal and an assist and dropped 35 points pretty easily. He was optimal after 12 minutes of that game or something.
You could just say he had a 22-point floor at the last time they played West Ham, but
that too.
I'd also say Man City aren't the same Man City team as they were on August 31st, but there's
right. But that's why I brought up December 4th. That's less than a month ago.
Yeah, and then he was ran into the ground. Then he
against world beaters too.
Then he got rested.
World beaters.
Yeah, he did that against world beaters, Nottingham Forest.
I don't want to talk about Nottingham Forest.
Are people? We don't have Foden projected to start.
I don't know.
Are people going to play Foden?
It's tough to play Foden if you play De Bruyne or Cole Palmer.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If he takes Doku's spot,
it's just one of those things where if that last City game wouldn't have happened, Foden would be higher owned than KDB with a $1,300 price difference. And then one game happens, and it'll be the other way around. So that's.
If Foden starts over Doku right now, I was always playing Foden over De Bruyne for cheaper. I would definitely.
That's why
I would definitely play. Yeah, I would definitely do Foden over De Bruyne.
Because I think De Bruyne would be higher owned for sure.
Yeah, I think the last slate when Foden and De Bruyne start, people just clicked $11,000 Kevin De Bruyne when you could play Foden for much cheaper. I think it was at the same price tag. And I think KDB was still somehow higher owned. I was really surprised by this, but if Foden starts, you get a projected split of sets. So that does give De Bruyne a downgrade. I can totally see that being the optimal route. And if that happens, I think people should consider it.
Yeah, even that Leicester game, Foden and De Bruyne had the same floors, and Foden went 66 minutes. De Bruyne played the whole time.
And Foden's always more, I feel more likely to score from open play.
Yeah, yeah. We saw that last season pretty much. But yeah, so as a 8,300, Damsgaard's 7,200. I think a little pricey. I've been playing Enzo Fernandez a bit. I've been playing a bit more advanced. He's kind of in this 10-point floor range. He showed upside a little bit more early in December. But 7,100 isn't the worst pricing on Enzo Fernandez. I think he's definitely a play. 7,100 seems expensive, but if you look at his game logs, like the floor has been there, so it's not the worst thing. I guess is what I would say. But yeah, I mean, if we could keep scrolling down, looking at this, like Lewis Cook, your Ryan Christie's 4,700.
I have a name.
Yeah, go for it.
John McGinn. He's 5,800, and this is going to be one of the best spots for Aston Villa all season. I saw, this was after substitutions were made, I saw that he took a couple set pieces. That's something he's been doing. If you get him in an attacking role, I have a really big floor on him. He's one of my best projected plays of the slate. So I think McGinn is a really good play, and I'm not sure that just based on how people are going to play, there's usually a little bit of inertia in the lobby. So I expect people to look to Dibbling. I expect people to look to Ryan Christie, especially if he has half of the sets. But if you're willing to spend 1,600 more, it's not like McGinn is unaffordable. And I think he's been playing at least 80 minutes recently. I think he's a cash play personally, and you're kind of free rolling a shot at set pieces.
Yeah, I would have mentioned him. I put him in my Newcastle stack on Boxing Day, so he's on my bad list right now.
He's excommunicado.
Yeah, but no, I do like that one. I'm on your same line of thinking. His floor early in the season, the first 2-3 months, it was like 0, and now he's been better the past month outside of that Newcastle game, unfortunately. Ryan, what's your thoughts on Ryan Christie versus Lewis Cook?
Oh man, inertia. I'm just thinking about inertia in the lobby. We're gonna miss Jack. We're gonna miss Jack on the pods, enlightening us, especially with his vocabulary. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to add. That the one thing about Jack leaving is I'll at least be able to sound smart sometimes again. Always having to go second after Jack. I don't have much to talk about. Some people think all we do is agree. But I'll try to disagree a little.
We haven't told anyone that you're doing solo pods from now on.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. Adam, if we get this Villa lineup that you have, the best tournament play on Villa is definitely Tielemans. I don't think we're going to get that lineup. Keep in mind, this is a big revenge spot for Tielemans too. And if you see him in an attacking role, he's having 5 shots if he starts in that role. I don't see it happen. I kind of think Ramsey's going to start. So you get a normal Villa lineup with Ramsey on the left. But if I see Tielemans there, I think he's a great tournament play. McGinn, yeah, I can't really argue with McGinn. He's just a good play. He takes set pieces in the second half, quite often when Bailey's not there. Digne might not be there. So yeah, Ramsey, I guess, is a GPP play then if he were to start. Not much of a floor and probably gets subbed, but 4,400 definitely has a goal. And yeah, no, I don't play Ryan Christie in these spots, especially if he's going to get some ownership. Did he even take any sets, or did Cook take them all last game? I mean,
you have to check Chris apps.
Yeah, I would consider Christie if Cook didn't play, maybe, but
if it was Christie and Tyler Adams, basically.
Yeah, then sure, but I still would want someone with a little more upside. I mean, not that Christie doesn't have it in this spot.
Adam, pull up Ryan Christie's game logs. Oh, there's upside in there, Ryan.
There's upside there's upside with an early goal from Calvert-Lewin or something, but
do you think an early goal from Calvert-Lewin matters?
Kind of. I mean,
Bournemouth are going to have a ton of opportunities no matter what. Unless Alvin Nielsen gets a hat trick in the first half and there's no floor points to be had, I guess.
I mean, City, Arsenal, and Chelsea didn't do that great.
Against
they just
Everton.
Played all 3 of those teams and allowed 1 combined goal and not that much floor. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good spot for Bournemouth, but I just don't play Christie chalk. You guys can do that.
Can't wait to hear you in DMs complain about Christie going off.
I will complain. But I mean, it's It's fine, obviously. Like Everton, you can play anyone home to Everton.
If it's Adams and Christie, would you lock in Christie? And Lewis Cook
No.
is
I
out?
mean, I pull up his game log because Jack touted it, and they were just home against Palace in a game that finished 0-0. So all game, they're looking for a goal.
Yeah, he had 8.8.
He didn't even
points.
take a shot. He created one chance, and had 3 crosses. I mean, get out of here with that. You guys go with your Ryan Christie.
We're talking about how good a team Crystal Palace was.
You just touted Tielemans is going to take 5 shots because he's playing a team he hates. Look at his game log. He had 0 shots and 2 starts as an attacking midfielder already.
Against City.
He's had more than 2 shots 2 times this season.
Bro, every single one of those says DMC.
What? I'm looking
Except
at
City and Newcastle when they got waxed and he got subbed off at half.
You know, at the end of the day, it's basically a 4-3-3. I don't think it matters.
Yeah. It matters when it's Onana and what Kamara. And they don't have Morgan Rogers. They need something.
Onana has legs that can get him up and down the pitch in like 10 steps. Have you seen that guy run?
You know, to expand though, these are like twice a year spots. It also happens to be the time when they have the best matchup in the Premier League. So, you know, there's a lot of caveats here. 1, he plays attacking. 2, they just happen to have their best match of the season. So, like, you look back next year, you look back and like, oh, Tielemans did have one massive floor game. Oh, this would be the spot for it.
I mean, he's had good floors this season. I think the downside in terms of tournaments is that everyone else on his team is cheap. Like Jack already mentioned McGinn, but you already mentioned Bailey. Bailey 4,100, Ramsey 4,400. Like all these guys are cheap, and I think they're all, you know, maybe more likely
perfect
to score
spot. Yeah,
I know. I
mean, you could play 6 Aston Villa guys.
Go for it.
I think it's possible. I want to give Ryan some credit. I'd like to agree with Ryan.
Do not play 6 Aston Villa guys, is what I'll say. This happened. I think we did a show on this. I don't know who was on it. It was like 2 years ago. Aston Villa were the biggest favorite. It was home against some scrub team.
Yeah, they didn't score, right? They lost. I remember that. I feel like
they were probably an 80% favorite. It was like, okay, Aston Villa are the Manchester City of this slate. Let's just play all their players, and it was just like, okay.
You're right.
This is not a 30-shot dominating.
I mean, it's a good matchup. They're playing like a championship team, but how many times have we said that Unai Emery plays down to his competition? He has his whole career. It's just like the way he manages. They rarely just like blitz teams. And why do you think they would do it if their best attacker's out? Really, Morgan Rogers has been their best attacker.
It's a lot of hate towards John Duran there, but
I'm not saying goal scorer, but like the guy who's like made them go. Like you miss a lot with Morgan Rogers. He's probably the best player in the league at picking up the ball in his own half and carrying it into the attacking half.
I wanted to get something about Everton, and Ryan was hinting at something that at least the machine notices. On the team level, you know, Everton are not a good team, and we're not like afraid to play guys against Everton. And sometimes we welcome it. The players don't really receive that much boost in floor against Everton. And this has been a trend under Sean Dyche. This is something that was present last season as well. So I thought I'd get more floor boosts against Bournemouth. I thought I'd get more floor boosts for Bournemouth players, but it's really not there. So you'd be playing for goals. So I thought, you know, and I think Big Z is in the chat saying, oh, it's going to be Bournemouth stacks. I thought that would be good too, but I have a tough time seeing it compared to the other 2 spots. So I don't mind the spot for one-offs just because Everton are not very good, but I don't expect the whole team to nuke necessarily. And this does mean that, you know, I don't think it's necessarily a smash spot for, you know, Ryan Christie type of play.
Fair. Defender is interesting, I guess, because Luca Digne is the most expensive defender, and usually no one wants to play him at 5,700, but he's home against Leicester. Jack, are you playing Luca Digne?
I always try to fade him, but I think I'm going to play him. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm always the first to fade. I would probably play him, but I don't think I would jam him. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a really good spot, but I still worry about the sub. And I don't even necessarily like he might not necessarily smash in this spot, like especially if they just get goals from other guys. I don't necessarily expect like a huge floor in every script, but obviously he's still a good play.
Yeah. It seems like he's been playing more minutes lately. Like previously, what made Dean a worse play was when I was giving him 70 and 75 minutes. And I think that was pretty accurate for a bit. But now he's been going 90s and 80s. So if you give him a minutes boost, that stuff means a lot, especially when the last 30 minutes are usually a bit more productive for floor. And I mean,
yeah, I totally agree. All that stuff means a ton. And in my mind, I just say, oh, well, he's now just due. Now he's just more due to get subbed early.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can fade him. It's not like.
No, you're right, dude. No, like if I knew he was playing these minutes, he's like a lock. If you like 90 minutes of him in this spot is a lock.
And it's on the table. So that's why in cash games, I think you'll probably just click it. I mean, he's going to come in like 70%. The field absolutely adores Luka Dean. So
still,
you're hardly gonna find a more negative program on Luka Dean. So I think I'll just click that in cash. What other names looked interesting? I'll always take a shot on Gusto and GPPs. Let me pull my stuff up. Kyle Walker-Peters, his price never changes, but he's been a pretty good play for a while. It's not like anyone is like a screaming value overall. There's like cheap center backs, like Nathan Ake is only 3K. He has a nose for goal. Gvardiol is also 5,200. Do we have him projected as a fullback? That's fine. Sometimes he doesn't really do the floor thing, but sometimes he does, and it's really valuable.
Yeah, I like Kyle Walker-Peters. In this wing back role, 3,800 home against Brentford. At this point, why not? We'll see what the lineups look like again for Brentford. Rearslev, also a possible wing back, would be 4,200. Not always a player you don't want to click, but he has good floors in him. He's had a couple of surprisingly good floors this season. So there's guys like that. I pulled up Milos Kerkez, 4,600 in one of my initial lineups. James Bree has gotten a few starts. He's 3,600. That would be on the opposite wing of Walker-Peters. He had the 8.3 floor at Crystal Palace last game. So that would be an interesting one. But anyone stand out for you, Ryan, outside of Dean Huijsen?
I'll take right-footed sets for Southampton. It's going to be Bree or Sugawara. Right? Fernandez is out. So give me whoever the wing back is on Southampton. I like Walker-Peters too, but I would definitely play Bree for 3,600 at that with sets. He almost scored against Palace last week or last game actually. Played 90, did well without sets. I like Matty Cash. Aside from the guys you said, I'll play Matty Cash in this spot for 4,400. Might even see him play more attacking, depending on the lineup. He's got a goal and assist in him.
I'd say that, but I don't think so because Carlos and Torres are both out. They wouldn't have another center back.
Right.
Outside of Kanza and Mings.
So Kanza's got to play there. Yeah.
So Kanza and Mings had to play central. So you can't really move Cash. Unless it's like
what about that? What about Bogard?
Unless Bogard starts or Costa Nedelovic or however you say that guy's name, unless he starts, I guess. And then in that situation, he'd be more forward.
Yeah,
so I guess
maybe one of them could, but yeah, okay. Still, I would still play Cash in a back four. Good clean sheet odds too.
Good yellow card odds too.
Yeah, good yellow card odds too. That's for sure. No, I don't have anyone else besides that. Bournemouth's right back, James Hill. He's kind of a center back, but he got an assist last week. Good matchup, had some crosses.
Is he more a center back? I was going to ask about him because
he's more of a center back, but he's also like hadn't played much. He's only like 20 years old, but also he's like 6'2" if I saw. So he's got like a center back sort of body, but
I know he came in. They got him from like I don't know Birmingham last season. I want to say when they had a bunch of left back injuries. I think he's. I think they're kind of using him as more of a fullback. Maybe he is.
Yeah, I mean he profiles as a CB, but I mean either way, he had 3 crosses and a nice ball to Evan Nielsen for the assist.
Yeah, Blackburn. I feel like he was playing left back for Blackburn. We don't have those stats. I guess it was more right. It was more right back. He was playing right back. He had some center back starts as well for Blackburn. I got it pulled up here. So,
yeah, I see it too. Yeah, played a lot of right back. Played some center back.
Started against Liverpool immediately after signing as a left back, and they lost 4-0. So that was interesting. That's why I guess that's why I thought that.
What is he doing bringing up Rico Lewis on my last show? Like, come on. Just torture.
I almost touched on it, but I just didn't.
3,900.
Only 30. Oh, damn. Okay.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst.
It's not the worst.
Like you just have to beat the Southampton guys, right? You get a clean sheet. Maybe he gets an assist.
Ryan, you told me like 3 months ago that Rico Lewis was due for a goal. So
man, yeah, I looks like I was wrong about that. But in my defense, it's they haven't got the lineups for it. I need Rico Lewis when he's next to Kovacic, who hasn't been playing, or like last year when he was next to Rodri, or if you put him next to a center back.
Kovacic has been playing.
Well, then maybe not. Not in the lineups I want to see. But I don't know. It's been a different Rico Lewis. He hasn't been as attacking. City just haven't been as good either. But.
Yeah, I think this is a slate where you don't have like your dominant defenders, and I think a lot of these guys are, in the 8 to 10 point floor range, and I think you can just find.
Jack. Rico scored against Palace like 3 weeks ago.
That didn't happen.
It happened. I mean, so he still gets in there, and in this spot, like he just ends up in the box and takes shots here and there.
All right, well, I'll withdraw that. Maybe he scored in some EFL.
So I was right about that. He scored against Palace
in
the league just a few weeks ago.
We got the Litecoin leader in here wishing best wishes for Jack.
Thank you.
I think the best tournament play at defender is Daniel Munoz here at 4,700. Guy rips a shot every game, and Jack already mentioned Chelsea getting tired, and they've struggled a little bit. Crystal Palace are at home. Munoz rips shots, and I think Munoz, out of anyone in the league, cares more about winning for Crystal Palace than anyone else in the league. If you watch this guy's highlights, it's just like this guy's celebrations.
Wow, touting his motivation. Absolutely love it.
This guy's celebrations are like the most intense I've seen of anyone. Like when they repost them, it's just like he's so happy when he scores, when anyone scores, when they get these comeback goals. He's like the happiest player I've seen in his celebrations. Some players celebrate fakely. Munoz does not. He's for real. He loves Crystal Palace.
Okay. I like Munoz as a player. Crystal Palace too.
That's the process right there.
Yeah. Not like, not the greatest spot. Not the worst, I guess.
All right, goalkeeper. Jack, tell us why you're going to play Emi Martinez with a 40% clean sheet chance.
Because the machine jams expensive goalkeeper.
There you go. He's 5,900. Ortega is 6,000. And then Kepa is 5,600. I'd personally rather go all the way down, but do either of you guys have anyone you talk about? My favorite is Areola. For, I think, clear reasons, I guess, playing at Manchester City.
I want to get a shout out in here. It's a man who's been disrespected a lot on this program for his goalkeeping abilities and perhaps his temperament and facial expressions. But Jordan Jordan Pickford, you have my permission to play him, and I would kind of like to. So I want to play some cheap goalkeeper, but I'm not too excited about playing. I can't pronounce the last name on Leicester's goalkeeper, so I won't even try. And I don't want to play. I won't be playing Areola because I'm going to be playing like 2 Manchester City guys, at least one in every single lineup. And that makes the viable cheap goalkeepers Dean Henderson, who has also been good to me, but also Jordan Pickford. So the much maligned Jordan Pickford, I don't know. I think it's conceivable that you could get a clean sheet out of Everton in this spot. If you're not playing any Bournemouth players, I don't know. It seems like a good tactic to me.
Got to agree on that one. I have Pickford right now. Yeah, I mean,
he's 3,900, right? That's too cheap.
Yeah, Everton can win. Everton can win in this spot. So I like Pickford. I mean, the expensive guys are better than they are on other weeks, but I'm still not sure that I'll get there. Just because, West Ham are definitely worse without Bowen. And Leicester have been bad. So you can see clean sheets from City or Villa if you have the money. The other guys would be tournament plays. Can't see people spending that for Kepa or Sanchez or.
Well, I think we already guaranteed a Jamie Vardy goal, so we're not going Emi Martinez. And then, everyone could see Kudos just scoring a goal by himself against Man City, so we're not picking Ortega. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Big Z bringing that the pronunciation is Jakub Stolarczyk. So Big Z knows how to pronounce every single name in Europe. A real legend.
Big Stoley.
And play Aaron Ramsdale too, I think.
What's his price?
46.
Okay, so that game is like a toss-up. I was wondering that, but I don't know. Right? I can't play Aaron Ramsdale after this interview where he talks about how he zones out.
The interview that got him sold from Arsenal, basically. But Brentford suck away is really the thesis there.
Do you guys want to get into that?
No, I was gonna follow that up with you can play Brentford here too because it's like a good spot for them against Southampton, but also they suck away, and I just don't think they're a very good team in general. So yeah, I prefer the Southampton side.
Do you care that they've probably had the hardest away schedule in the league this season?
Well,
or are you,
a little bit.
Looking at overall numbers.
No, a little bit, but I'm also looking at last year, the year before last year, the year before 2 years ago. Like when they're always like this, and just the team isn't very good. They're like missing a lot of players. It's just, I don't know, more of like an opportunity spot for Southampton, but it's a good spot for anytime. Any matchup against Southampton's a good spot too. So it's fine to play Brentford.
How many saves is Mark Flecken getting per game? Scroll down. Just incredible what this guy has been up to.
4.2.
I mean, it tells you
might be
a lot.
more than that.
4.78.
Only one against Arsenal last week. You don't count Arsenal games though.
No, yeah, they're too good. I don't know. Mark Flecken, he almost sent us to the torture chamber like 2 weeks ago. Like I think he got sent. He was off injured, but he somehow had like 7 saves in the first half. It's just something about the way Brentford play. They've been conceding a lot of opportunities, and Southampton are a terrible team because their defense is terrible. It's not because their offense is completely inept. So if you think Brentford are going to win, you could take like this contrarian point of view and play Brian Mbeumo, and you could say, well, Brian Mbeumo is going to be like 5%, and I get half the set pieces, and he's been pretty good this year. Or you could just play Mark Flecken and get the win through that, and maybe get like a 16, 18-point performance.
Yeah, and just to even add to that, Southampton also suck at offense. You mentioned they're not good at defense. They're also bad at offense. I mean, you look at they can't score either. They've been shut out in like 4 of their
That's because Paul Nwachu hits every single header straight at the goalkeeper. But I think totals are okay. I
just like look at the lineup they're rolling out there. So playing Flecken is fine. Like you're not going to be surprised at all if Southampton don't score.
I got to back my guy Thomas Frank here because Ryan just is generalizing about Tottenham or Brentford being bad on the road here.
What are you doing talking about Tottenham? They're not even on the slate.
Brentford, Thomas Frank. They already played at Liverpool, at Man City, at Tottenham, at Manchester United, at Fulham, at Aston Villa, at Chelsea, at Newcastle, at Brighton. Last season, they had a -4 goal differential away from home. 2 seasons ago, it was -5. Both those are league average. So I just got to stand up for my guy, Thomas Frank here. Ryan,
That's
just
fair. Maybe I
talking about
exaggerate,
Brentford sucking away.
exaggerate too much. I like Thomas Frank, but like Brentford are a good spot. They give up a lot of floor usually too.
Yeah, I'm just
Thomas
saying
Frank has done well every year. He's done well with Brentford.
I mean, there's been dealing with a ton of injuries this year. Like, it's been a tough season for them.
I have to give my center back play here.
Nathan
Julio. No, I do have to go, someone similar, a similar haircut to Nathan Ake. Tyrone Mings. I've missed you, Tyrone Mings, playing you in DFS. 3 shots the last 2 starts. He's going to score. He's getting a goal. Aston Villa are getting corners against Leicester. They're going to struggle early to get that first goal, but we're going to see Yuri Tielemans. Ryan's guy, Yuri Tielemans, maybe he's not taking 5 shots, but he will take a bunch of corners, and he's going to assist to Tyrone Mings. Just wait until you can see his hair flowing, celebrating. Maybe not as much as Daniel Munoz, but you'll see Tyrone Mings celebrating. His hair he'll be shaking his head, and his hair will be flowing. So,
man,
there's the play right there.
I did not miss playing Tyrone Mings in DFS. The last time I played him in DFS was a couple months ago. He scored like the funniest. He did score on Villa.
That was against Bruges.
Yeah, against Bruges, like the funniest own goal you'll ever see.
Now it makes sense. You always bring up that Bruges game about Aston Villa because that hurt you. The Tyrone Mings.
That game hurt me, dude. That clean sheet cost me too. Yeah, I played Mings there. Yeah, all of
You've referenced that game like 10 times in the past 2 months.
It stands out. It stands out. Yeah, okay. That's a fine. How much is Mings?
3,800. He's too expensive.
38. Okay.
This is insane.
3,700. 37.
Over the same price as the Southampton wingbacks. You're gonna get Mings at 0.1%.
I'm playing for the goal. I don't care about 7 floor points from the Southampton wingbacks.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm getting 15 points from Mings. He's gonna be the leading defender.
Can't we just play Esri Konsa for 700 cheaper?
No.
Okay.
Nathan Ake, talk about the guy, the Jesse Pinkman gif. He can't keep getting away with it. That's Nathan Ake right there. People are going to punt on this slate, and they're going to punt to Nathan Ake, and he's going to score a goal.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that he's only 3K. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying.
Oh, Julio says Nathan Collins. Talk about a machine legend. I support this full.
Yeah, he's 3,300. That's Ryan's guy too.
Yeah, I've been touting Collins forever. I would say, are we all giving center back picks? I will.
Why not?
Harwood Bellis for me. Harwood Bellis for me. Only 2,800. He's actually kind of a beast in the air. Look at his numbers. He was kind of highly rated too, like from Man City when they got him. Harwood Bellis goal.
Nathan Wood. All right, Dibbling assist. All right, well Jack will have the final flag plant. We'll end the show with the Jack flag plant. So that means Ryan, he doesn't like going first on these, so he's not going to really have a good answer. He's going to say something stupid. So
Ryan's going to be like, my flag plant is the construction where you maybe do X.
I'll give a flag plant just for you guys on this one.
Do you have one? Do you have one for us? No, Jack, you're after us. You got to be the final one.
Okay.
Okay.
Ryan, you got one?
Sure. Okay. I mean, this guy will carry some ownership, but he'll be a pivot off of a chalky or mid for the same price. It is a matchup that turns betas into alphas, Jack. So I'm going to flag plant Leon Bailey for 4,100. Let's go.
I like it. I hate Leon Bailey, but I like the flag plant. It is the good spot for him. Adam, who's your flag plant?
When was the last time Ryan didn't tout Leon Bailey?
No one loves this guy more. Ryan loves this guy. He plays 60 minutes every time.
And how did he get 15 floor points last game?
Low key, Leon Bailey could be had on the cheap as like a replacement for Saka. Maybe $10 million. Bring him in for just.
You got Ethan Nweri. He looked fine. If you bought Leon Bailey instead of playing your talented young forward,
Ethan is great. I just think he profiles as more of a central player. I really like Ethan. He's just not. He just doesn't have like the quickness and pace as like the winger types.
Oh, what? And Leon Bailey has pace?
More.
Ugh.
Hey, I mean, Bailey, it wasn't too long ago. Bailey was worth like 60, 70 million. But then again, so was Nicolas Pepe. Very similar players, those two sometimes.
All right. I already gave out Ming, so I'm gonna go a little off the board. I did mention his name in the show, but Kudus is scoring in this game. Kudus, how many times have we seen Vardiol make a stupid pass or do something stupid defensively this season and really have no emotion, have no Munoz-like emotion in the mistake that he made? Kudus is gonna, without Bowen there, they're just gonna feed Kudus as much as possible. He's gonna draw 5 fouls. He's also going to dribble past Vardiol. He's going to dribble past Ake/Akanji. And he's probably going to draw a PK. Or no, we don't want a PK, actually. He's going to score a goal. He's going to slide it past Ortega. Kudus is going to hit 20 points with the goal and a foul drawn floor. So Kudus, 6.2K. Sub 5%? Probably, 3, 2? Actually, they're playing at City, 1%, 2%. He won't be popular.
I love it. He actually projects surprisingly well. Like, not great, but
can always get behind a Kudus call. I played him against Liverpool last game. It seems bad, but he hit the inside of the post in like the 10th minute. It could have been different.
It can always be different.
Agree. My flight plans were Martin Gayling. It's Antoine Semenyo. So I'm going to enter the 180 and some other stuff I usually don't to go out. It's a shame this isn't a tax write-off, though, so that shows how dedicated I am to this flight plans. Just ridiculous shot numbers for Antoine Semenyo. If he scored and I didn't play him, I'd be sick to my stomach. If he doesn't score, I hope you will play him in the next slate. That's all I have to
play him in the Thunderdome.
Yeah, I'll go against Mo in the Thunderdome.
Semenyo averages, I was going to say this earlier, but he averages, I think, 4.22 shots per 90. So
a comment from Kristen. You love to see it. You love to see it on the final.
The only girl who watches this program, I think.
Yeah. That's why I noticed it. I was like, wait, there's no way.
There's no way.
Gonna miss seeing Jack's face on the thumbnail. Never know. May just, throw him in there just for fun. When Ryan does his solo shows, he's gonna need someone's face next to his on the thumbnail.
Maybe we'll bring Jordan back. Jordan's gonna have to step up.
Maybe we could get AI Jack or like hologram Jack or something.
Jordan hasn't watched a soccer game in 2 years, and I don't know. Maybe I guess maybe after NFL, we'll see.
After NFL, he should be around.
Yeah, he might be more available. So maybe we'll get JC Jordan Cooper back, Blender HD, in the future. But we got anything else here? Proper send off. Semenyo with the hat trick to lead Jack into glory. Well, this is it. You guys got anything else? Ryan, you got some farewell words here?
No, it was fun. It was sad, bittersweet. I mean, like we said, like it's nice for Jack, sad for us, but
no, sad for Jack too.
Yeah, I mean, he can't play DFS anymore, but who knows? Nothing lasts forever, right?
Well, it's good for me based on
DFS doesn't last forever.
So, my last word. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I'll try to hang out. You can send me friend requests on Discord if you want to DM me. I might be a little busy, but a little bit of shit posting never hurt anyone.
All right, Jack. So, what day do you want me to tell HR to get rid of your RW subscription?
Oh, we might work together in the future. So
No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, I mean, as long as you're subscribed, you're in the Discord. So there you go. You can always see Jack will pop on. He's still going to be following soccer. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to Jack. For everything. Now we got to deal with Ryan writing his garbage articles and doing whatever.
No one runs worse than Ryan. He thought he was done after NFL, and now he's gonna have to start writing the Friday article for DFS. Just brutal.
Tough times.
You might be in the market for a soccer writer.
Yeah, we might be, or DraftKings soccer coverage at RotoWire may no longer exist. We'll see what happens. And at that point, we just blame Jack for it. So, if DraftKings stops covering, I think the only reason DraftKings soccer still exists is because of Jack. And now that he's leaving, he's purposely leaving this so it goes away. And now it just might. Jack was the final straw. UK went away earlier 2024 there. And now they're like, Jack's the only thing here. He's the only thing keeping us alive with all the content he's doing. But now he's just like, I'm done. I'm done with DraftKings.
Oh, yeah. My tweets with hundreds of impressions, all that fun stuff. There's soccer DFS isn't going away. I think it's in a healthy equilibrium now. If I didn't reply to your comment, thank you everyone who commented. I appreciate it.
Thanks to Jack. And thank you, everyone, for listening. See everyone in the Discord, rotowire.com/soccer trial, 48-hour trial, rotowire.com/chat. Get into the Discord. Either way, if you don't want to get into Discord, just stop in the Discord and say what's up to Jack B. We'll see everyone around.
See ya, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Good luck, everybody.